Somebody come get 'em. They're too old for TikTok.
Hello and welcome to Too Old for TikTok. It was a great week because Catalina was in New York City, so we were able to be together. But sadly now she's in Ohio, I'm in New York, but we have so many great stories from when you were in New York. How are you doing back in Ohio?
I'm coming down from a very energetic, activity-full weekend. I feel unwell, but I did it in the name of fun, and that's what's important to me.
Yeah, Monday morning I felt very low, just energy-wise, mood-wise. We were on such a high. Like, we didn't do drugs at all, but I feel like, I guess what people say when they have cocaine, like the high is really high and then they come down from a low. Mm-hmm. I've never had that before, but that's sort of what I felt like on Monday morning.
Well,
like we were riding such a high from Don Angie.
Exactly. I was going to say it's because we achieved one of our group dreams.
Yeah.
Which is we went to one of the hardest to get a reservation at restaurants in New York City.
We did it.
And you know what we did the entire time?
I know. To our listeners. No, yeah, we were fools. We showed up. We were pretty drunk at the point when we showed up.
Well, we had to wait for 5 hours.
Exactly. So what do you do in those 5 hours? You drink. And we sat down and proceeded to just do the Demure modest trend, but on crack.
Well, I would also say that we were with our other two friends, Ashley, friend of the pod, and Steph, who's also been a guest on the pod, who are equally TikTok pilled to us. So the four of us together just could not stop drunkenly saying demure.
Very demure, very modest, very mindful.
Very cutesy. But
very demure-tsy.
We were, I would actually say, not even remotely demure, modest, or mindful at Don Angie's.
No, we were animals. I think our picture will be on the wall. I don't think we'll ever be allowed back in. And I love how we were complaining about the service, but looking back, they treated us how we deserve to be treated.
That's true. She was like, just eat and leave. And we were like, yes.
But, yeah.
Okay, let's not make it sound like we were falling over or something. We were just really happy to be there and really overly excited about how good the food was.
And we were taking a lot of videos.
That's true. But we only took one photo with flash.
And that was an accident. I think that was Steph's doing.
No, I turned on my flash.
You did it?
At one point.
Oh.
I don't know.
Wow.
Another thing that happened that I barely told you about was that when I went to the JFK in the morning, I had a 9 a.m. flight. And I got up super early. And I took the E train. And I took the air train, and actually it was super easy. It came immediately. And so I was at the airport kind of early. So I was like, oh, I'm going to go to a lounge. And I went to the Chase Lounge, which as a Capital One member, I only get one visit to per year. But I was like, I'm doing it, whatever. So I was only there for 25 minutes. And then...
Beautiful lounge.
Lovely. Well, it's not as nice as the LaGuardia one, apparently.
Oh, but that's what I'm thinking
of. But it's still really nice.
Yeah.
Having a lovely time. And then I was like, I'll leave for my gate when the flight starts boarding. So I leave and I realize that my gate was a 20-minute walk away.
Yeah, JFK is fucking huge. You were a Delta?
Yeah.
You could have taken a shuttle.
I saw that there was a bus, but I was just like, I don't even know where to find the bus. What if the bus doesn't come?
That's so stressful.
Oh my God, it was awful.
Were you running with your necrosis of the ankle?
I can't run. As you know, I can't run. So I was walking as fast as I could, and I arrived at my gate at 8:46, and I watched the man walk away from my gate, and I was like, can I go on the plane? He was like, we closed the gate at 8:45, and I was like, but I'm 1 minute late. And he was like, let me see. And he then looked at my boarding pass, and I was seat 1D because while I had been just diddling, I had gotten a free upgrade. And so they let me on. But I don't think they would have let me on otherwise.
If you were in economy. Mm-hmm. Wow, classist.
Classist. But thank God.
You know what that wasn't?
Demure, mindful. No, I was not mindful
not at all.
Of the time.
The airport behavior was terrible.
One of my dumbest decisions to date, almost missing my flight back home. So yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anyhow,
I thought you were going to tell the story because you started off by saying something I didn't tell you. I thought you were going to make a joke about you getting hit by a car this weekend because I heard that story approximately 1 million times because you told it to everyone. And by the way, Catalina's fine. She got tapped by a vehicle.
It was going 1 mile per hour.
Riding a bike. Yes, but also probably aided to why you couldn't run. Maybe you're a little sore from your mild car accident.
In my defense, the reason why you heard it all of those times was because, as you know, when I go to New York City, I'm trying to see a lot of people. So I kind of have like a revolving door thing where I make plans, I have people come, they come and go. And so each of those people was a new person that I wanted to tell the story to. I'm sorry that I wanted to tell people about being hit by a car. It's a good story. But you are a constant where you are kind of like my...
Just always there.
You're there. And in fact, I didn't let you leave because you tried to leave at one point.
And I tried to leave you. I was like, I've had enough. I'm going to leave and come back. But I had to hear that car story again.
So,
which is fine because we helped you hone in on a short version of the story.
Did we?
We did, because the first time you told me and Ben, it took you 45
minutes. Right, well, I took a break.
And you had a bathroom break in the middle. Let's get into the talks this week.
Let's talk about it.
We have a great video by Terrence F. O'Connor, and he basically did our job. He set the agenda for the week. This is very similar to our For You pages.
Gay guy with the cucumbers, Demure talk, Kamala HQ, Addison song. That's the moment. I don't make the rules. And yeah, I'm loving every second. And random videos set to like 365. That's it. Week of 8/11. Culture is happening all around us. Also, bedside koi pond. Love it. You're welcome.
Do you know who he is?
No, I don't.
Oh, so he is the boyfriend of Benito Skinner, Benny Drama. And he also is one of Charlie XCX's best friends, and he like shoots her album covers.
I had no idea. I thought he was just a random TikToker.
No. Like,
how did you find this out?
I've known.
You've known him. You've seen him before.
I followed Benny Drama for a really long time, and so I knew that he was friends with Charlie XCX, and I knew that Terrence O'Connor was his boyfriend, and I would like read about it. And so one time I read about it, and he's been posting a lot with her as part of like promo for the album. So it's kind of funny to see how people who use TikTok are also like how celebrities also use TikTok. Like this is I wouldn't call him a celebrity. He's like celebrity adjacent. He's a public figure, but this is very self-aware and finger on the pulse use of the platform, which contrasts, I would say, with other celebrities that we talked about that have like tried to go on TikTok in a very unorganic way in the past to promote their albums or whatever, and it just like doesn't work for them. Like you can tell that these celebrities are actually watching TikTok.
You can always tell when someone is on TikTok and knows the platform. It's very obvious. Or when someone tries to use it like a marketing tool like Instagram, it's not fooling us.
That was why Lizzo, before her cancellation, was such a good TikToker, because
so good.
She posted
Charlie
a TikTok.
XCX
I recently saw it. She posted
recently?
a TikTok. Yeah, someone was like, where did Lizzo go? Or like, did you notice? It was something where she stitched someone who's talking about like, you guys successfully canceled her. And she was like, I'm on a yacht.
That's so good. I love it. Oh my God. She's going to make a comeback. I feel like getting canceled these days, like you could make a comeback, and she's on her way slowly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the level of cancellation.
It depends on it.
We also
what you're
know,
canceled for.
I'm not sure if it's all over your page, but the like Brooke Schofield, Trayvon Martin tweets. Have you been seeing this?
That's like no, not really, no.
That girl who's friends with Tana Mojo, who has a podcast called Canceled, all of these tweets came out of her being like extremely racist.
Oh.
And in the past, but still, it was like 2016 and she was in high school. And so, of course, everyone's debating, like, can you grow? Can you change? Has she really changed?
Right.
She's put out an apology. And so, you know what people need to do? First of all, just start by not being racist on the internet. And second of all, if you're a public figure,
shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. And also, check your shit. Like, I don't know. Whenever these people get caught, I'm like, you're just really stupid.
Yeah,
You didn't think
agreed.
someone was going to go back in your tweets and look?
But I guess when you're in high school, you're not thinking that much. So.
Okay, beyond that, which, like, I still think when I was in high school, I wasn't saying, like, horrific shit about... I do think people can grow and change. Do I think this girl has genuinely grown and changed? I don't know. I don't know her.
We don't know. Yeah, I don't.
But my point is more to, if you become a public figure and you want to avoid being canceled, maybe scrub your shit.
Yeah, you did that with your Facebook when you were applying for jobs.
Not very well, but like, I mean, I also wasn't posting stuff like that.
True, sorry. I didn't mean to join those two.
I was not posting things like that, but it was like drunk stuff, you know?
Exactly. Other stuff with like posing with shots and just looking very inebriated.
I think another thing that happens is people don't fully erase. They only make it private. And it's like, you have people who follow? I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Keep
smarter.
telling. But also, racists should keep telling on themselves. Why not?
Yeah, get called out.
All right, sorry.
Let's
that was
move
not
on to the most.
Yeah.
It's okay.
That was not on our agenda.
It's not a good. It's a hard right turn we're making, but our favorite. This is one of my favorite TikTok trends so far. It's the Demure trend.
But also, Dina, I just want you to know that at this point, I don't know the difference between hard left and hard right turn. Like, you've broken my brain.
That's my goal in life.
Exactly.
So
okay,
I'm
Demure.
Demure. We have Jules LeBron, JOOLS LeBron, has just taken TikTok by storm.
She's a trans woman, and she's so funny. And everyone is
obsessed.
I'm obsessed. I think that it's just somehow, it kind of reminds me of Vine, where it's just such a short clip that really is easily digestible and repeatable and applicable.
I was going to say it applies to every aspect in life. So I found myself at work today and someone asked me how I was in a meeting that she wasn't in. And I said, very demure, very much. And I was like, oh my God, she's not on TikTok. She has no idea.
You also mentioned this in person, that it's similar to when Jake Shane had his exponential rise to fame, where that format of him doing interpretations of different points in history was just such a successful idea, and really he could continue creating that content because people were feeding him new ideas, because he kind of had this like call and response type of comedy. This is a different format, but it's working. So if we actually have anyone who doesn't look at TikTok, it's this woman who is just saying phrases like very demure, very mindful, very cutesy about different activities in her day-to-day life that are clearly supposed to be
hectic. So she had an example of, this is how you should be on the Las Vegas Strip. This is how you should be on a family vacation. This is how you should be at the airport.
You see how I walk through the airport? Very demure. I don't do a lot like these other girls. I get to my gate and I get on the plane. I'm very cutesy, very demure.
So you could apply it to all of these different things.
Right, but in her actual behavior, she's showing that she's actually not being in any way demure, mindful, or cutesy. But she's calling
But sometimes she is.
Yes, that's true.
Some videos she'll cut, like she was at a club once and she says, this is how you should be getting ready for the club. And then she cuts to her like just being crazy at the club. But at like the airport video, she looks demure and put together and everything is great, but you know that the airport is just generally a chaotic experience where no one is behaving. So it's that juxtaposition.
Well, another thing that I saw, and this would be a little bit jumping ahead about the controversy that then has come up about this, but all of these phrases come from the trans community and the ballroom community. So she's not actually, this type of like satire saying that you're demure is not her invention. She's just found a very digestible and appealing way of sharing it with the masses.
Exactly. And that's a trend of the drag community. Like a lot of sayings we have now are because of RuPaul's Drag Race, and that's made it into mainstream.
The Drag Race?
And now, I can't speak. Drag Race.
Well, this is always kind of anything in the cultural zeitgeist. If you trace it back, it generally starts with queer people of color start the trend.
Exactly.
And then it's co-opted by, or it starts to be used, or co-opted by white people who are generally queer, and then it starts just being filtered more and more and more into the mainstream like cultural zeitgeist until you have girls saying period who like don't even know what they're talking about.
Right. And now I'm saying demure all the time.
Demure.
So, demure. A lot of other people are latching on to the trends, and Catalina, you sent me a video because this relates to the cucumber trend last week, where the user Pay8 the Great talked about, is it microplaning or what is it?
Yeah, it's wait, now I feel like
No,
it's not microplaning.
It's not microplaning.
Oh, I kept saying microplaning last week. I probably even wrote mandolin. It's a mandolin.
It's a mandolin.
It's a mandolin.
So last week on the podcast, Catalina says, don't microplane your
Which
cucumber.
honestly, you could cut yourself. I said don't microplane your finger, which you still could cut your finger on a microplane, but I meant to say because everyone's cutting it with a mandolin.
This is a great video.
You see how I cut my cucumber the other day? Very cutesy. I'm not like you other girls. I don't own a mandolin because I'm very mindful that I might cut myself. Very cutesy. Very mindful. Very demure.
I bought a cucumber.
I have a cucumber from my dad's garden, and I cut up some for Little Z last night and fed them to her.
Okay, but are you going to make one of these cucumber scenarios?
No, I told you last week that I use the cucumbers I get for my turtle.
Okay, well, I bought cucumbers to make one of these cucumber scenarios, so I'll report back.
Good for you.
Thank you. You hate cucumbers and also me.
I don't, but let's move on. Here's another video by Average Is I
logged off the app for 5 minutes and then I logged back on and everyone's talking about being demure and mindful and I can't keep up because I thought we were having a brat summer. And I feel like having a brat summer does not go hand in hand with being demure and mindful. You know what I mean? Like at what point can we just be ourselves? Just wondering.
I love this because things change so quickly, and we always talk about this with TikTok, and it was funny because our friend Sam was like, oh, I didn't know demure was a trend until you guys were just posting about it all weekend long, because things change so quickly.
Well, I also think that it's kind of with the changing of the seasons right now. So brat was summer and demure is fall.
But it's not fall yet. It's not even fall.
August is almost fall. I have to start teaching again next week. For me,
we know
mentally,
you go by the academic calendar. We know, but it's August and it's summer, so don't ruin my summer.
It's fall. It's pre-fall.
That actually brings up Bama Rush because it's pre-fall, and I feel like we'll talk a lot about that next week because you've already started sending me videos for that, but that's how quickly we're moving here.
I know I said last time, like, I'm over Bama Rush, but you know what? You just can't escape it. You can't escape it. And I find myself watching them. I am flipping through the ones. I'm like swiping past the OOTDs and I'm looking at mostly there was one with this girl with this insane skirt today that I sent you.
That skirt was crazy. It looked like a curtain. With ruffles. It was very weird.
I guess
skirt.
our responsibility to the listeners of this podcast is, it is our job to watch the Bama Rush videos. So even though I don't particularly love them anymore, I will still report on them.
They'll be on our For You pages, so we'll report on them. But this week, we're not really going to.
Okay, so I sent you a video that whenever people comment, I built this For You page brick by brick. This was a moment of that for me. So this is a video by @Cities by Diana, who basically probably used AI to...
Probably. She definitely used AI.
Well, you know what? I'm so stupid that I was watching and I was like, wait, did Robert Moses actually use the word demure? Because there's also been instances of, like, I saw a Gilmore Girls clip where they're actually saying demure in the clip. So people are just finding different parts of, like, cultural production that used the term demure. So I was like, wait, what? And then obviously as the clip went on, I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. But it's Robert Moses, who's like the infamous urban planner who is responsible for a lot of the expansion of New York City and the surrounding areas, using the term demure and obviously critiquing him because he is widely critiqued for a lot of his policies and opinions.
You see how I plan cities, very demure. It's not a fashion show, very demure, very mindful. I don't add lanes with a green cut crease. I don't look like a clown when I'm bulldozing the apartments of 75 Puerto Rican families in the Bronx. Very mindful, very demure. The way I plan the highway is the way I finish the job. A lot of you girls plan your highway projects like you're Robert Moses, but do the job like you're Jane Jacobs. But not me. I'm very mindful, very demure.
Guess what?
What?
So there's a book about Robert Moses that is called The Power Broker that I've been wanting to read for a really long time, and technically I have been reading it. Guess how many pages it is?
4,292.
1,344.
Okay, but what do you mean technically? How can you be technically?
Well, I was going to say,
are you
guess
or
how
are you
many
not?
guess how many pages of it I've read?
5.
16.
Okay, so you read some of it.
I thought that it would be good to read before bed, but it's not. It's not nighttime reading.
No. You know what it is? Audiobooks. I listen and I fall asleep. I'm listening to an audiobook about an octopus now. It's great. It's reviewed well. It's called Remarkably Bright Creatures. And not knowing that there's an octopus character really threw me for a loop when I started listening to it.
Is it fiction?
Yes.
I don't think that reading about or listening to a book about like hostile architecture and urbanism would really put me to sleep. So I don't even think I'm going to try out the audio version of it.
Fair.
But I will let you know when I get past page 16.
Okay, you know what? I don't care, but please do let me know.
Wow, okay.
Let's move on because this is the last thing we're going to say about the demure trend. So there's a creator named Michelle Gossips who explains that actually Jules LeBron, who has become the really famous person for doing the demure videos, may have not been the one to start the trend, and it may have been someone named Selena.
All the girls are fighting. Trap Selena is accusing Jules LeBron of stealing her demure aesthetic idea. Now, y'all seen this creator, right?
You see how I get off of work? Very demure, very cutesy.
Well, Selena has came forward saying that that creator has completely stolen her content.
The whole demure trend, it's literally something that I made back in 2021.
Now, I jumped immediately to the comments, and they were not on Selena's side. People were saying, I feel like Jules uses demure ironically. It hits different, therefore it's a different trend. I don't know if this is very demure. And the world kept spinning. You could have DM'd her this. And some people were in defense of Selena, saying, not gonna lie, I did remember you saying it. I knew I remembered demure going viral before this. You have been saying this, I remember. Someone even asked her to prove it, and not only did she post a video, which I'm about to show y'all, she also showed this article about her that somebody posted, and it did say that the words Timorous, petite, and demure being used were because of Selena. Now, this is the proof she said she has for originating the demure trend back in May 21st of 2022. Let's take a look.
I'm very petite, very demure. I only eat Greek salads.
Now, what I'm really waiting for is to see if Jules is going to respond to this drama and take her demurity back. I'm sorry, but this is not very demure or mindful of Selena. What do y'all think?
So I've been seeing a lot of discourse, as I say, about this on the platform. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier about the ballroom community, where people are essentially defending her and saying, you didn't make up the term demure, right? But then this Selena person who I've seen some of her content before because apparently she went viral, but she's been like really freaking out, and she says that she has receipts, that she's being copied. So let's wait and see. We'll see if anything comes out of this.
I feel like that's just the nature of TikTok, though, is you can't take a word and then say you started it. Like, even if, yes, Selena may have started the trend, But then Jules LeBron is making it her own totally by doing like the different scenarios. That's like the person with the cucumber who is doing it. We did it at Don Angie because it's more flattering in a way.
I think,
I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see if the tides turn on this, but
I don't think it will.
I will say that, so Ivan reads submissions for this small indie press. He was telling me that in the past like month or so, he has read no less than 6 submissions that follow the exact same narrative arc. And these are people who have nothing to do with each other. I think that there are just sort of like, when it comes to creativity and when it comes to producing art, comedy, music, sometimes there are coincidences. Sometimes people live in the same world, right? And these people are in the trans community and they're hearing the word demure. So I'm not surprised that both would come up with a similar concept, sort of gag online on TikTok.
Exactly.
The only thing is that this other person, that Selena is saying that Jules is like straight up behind the scenes
ripping her off.
Right. And so we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I would just
But in
hope
the meantime, we'll be mindful
and demure
and considerate
and demure. Let's move on to breakdancing. Now, the Olympics are over, but none of us will ever forget Reagan and the breakdancing, and now there's controversy surrounding it. So let's just start with when it first happened. I'm just getting TikToks of people being like, was this real? Was this an SNL skit? Like, this was just crazy. And there, we'll recap some of the best ones here. There's one by TikTok by Alexa.
I was subjected to watching breaking, aka breakdancing at the Olympics, but not in the comfort of my own home, but like at work. I have so much to say that I've been holding in my head for the past God knows how long, since I had to watch the horrors of live cultural appropriation. As soon as it started and they had Snoop Dogg be the one who introduced it, I was like, okay, completely different era of hip hop, but like, go off, King. I'm crying at this girl from Lithuania for the past 5 hours. Okay, imagine you have to keep a decorum in a professional environment. And here comes a little white girl with a do-rag over her eyebrows from Lithuania, and her breakdancer name is Nika. Tears were streaming down my eyes in real time. Like, I was losing my mind. I could not keep it together. I had to go take a lap. Because to make matters worse, I know y'all all saw that Australian girl looking like a fish out of water doing this, calling that breakdance. I was like, Jesus, call the flood. Call the flood. Oh, Heavenly Father, mighty Sky Daddy, call the flood. Because what is going on? And then you gonna hold a PhD in breakdancing? What does that even mean? Do you know how crazy it is that not only is this now an Olympic sport, but there is not a single Black American competing in this? Not one? Y'all couldn't find one? I told my mama, girl, you better go dust off your forehead and get some cardboard. Okay, bring home gold, baby, because they let anybody out here. Also, where did she get a do-rag in Lithuania?
And then there's another one that's a recap by MEM Rob.
The entirety of this breakdancing competition in the Olympics feels like an SNL skit that will be cut because it wouldn't be believable enough. People would think it would just be too ridiculous. Like, first off, you have Australia going out there and embarrassing themselves with this person who has a doctorate in cultural studies with an emphasis in breakdancing. And the bitch looks like she just started breakdancing yesterday. And then you have this little white girl from Lithuania who shows up in a do-rag, and her stage name is just phonetically the N-word. Like, who is writing this script? This shit isn't funny. It feels like a high school freshman's first crack at absurdism. Like, they're trying to write a script that was like, oh, this speaks to what racism is. Look at this, but it's all silly. What I'm saying is fire the writers, find somebody better.
Then we have people reacting in a video by Jean Mitchell. And I really like the comments in this video, which, you know, they're saying like the Australian JoJo Siwa, or Ray Gun is going to be the top Halloween costume this year. And this was a video.
That's a good Halloween costume.
I know, right? This is a video of her like dancing in the streets that someone caught, and they're like, she's dancing better here. As someone who is a culture, okay, so there's another aspect of it. There's a dimension of this character, right? We'll call her a character, even though she's clearly not just a character, she's a person. And it's that people are saying she has a PhD in breakdancing. She does not have a PhD in breakdancing. It's
cultural movement.
No, Dina.
Oh, what is it?
She has a PhD in, she does what I do. She does
in Iberian studies?
I do cultural studies, okay? So cultural I mean, I don't have my PhD in cultural studies, but you could categorize what I do as cultural studies. Right?
Okay. So there's an umbrella. Yeah.
And so to
you guys
me,
are under the same umbrella.
Right. To me, I feel like people are like, oh my, and you know, disregarding intellectualism, whatever, saying things that are low culture are not worthy of being studied. People immediately have this reaction where they're like, who gets a PhD in breakdancing? So
you think that? I wasn't getting that.
I was
people
seeing
were
that.
saying that.
I was seeing that online. Where they're like, what a ridiculous thing to have a PhD in. Now, it's a hilarious thing. It's like when people talk about Gallatin, and it's like you could study literally anything in Gallatin.
My favorite is basket weaving.
Which now, as a cultural studies person, I'm like, you could legitimately do like ethnographic studies on basket weaving.
No, of course, but it's just kind of out there. You wouldn't expect it. Yeah.
I wanted so bad to root for this girl. I had not seen her
all
video.
Did, I think.
I did
she's
not
also
see her video.
36. She could be any of us, really.
But okay, so I heard about all this. I had not watched the Olympics that day. I had not watched the breakdancing, and I was being defensive. I was like, I don't know, I feel like people are being like really unfair. And then I watched the video, and I told you, this would be like if I, who like sometimes I study Eurovision, if I literally performed at Eurovision, if I performed with my singing abilities at Eurovision, which then you said we need to do.
No, I mean, I want to make a documentary about Catalina, like writing a dissertation about Eurovision and then going on Eurovision.
Okay, well, unfortunately, I already wrote my dissertation, so I can't write
But you could write another one. Why can't you write another one?
A dissertation is in order to get your PhD.
So get a second PhD.
Dina? No.
Okay, you can. You just don't want to.
I could write an article about Eurovision, which I'm actually doing right now.
Oh, okay. Okay. So anyway, I would love for you to then attempt to get on Eurovision. The thing is that you would know the ins and outs by researching it, by studying it, which is what Reagan knows. She knows the ins and outs of the Olympics and breakdancing and how one gets into the Olympics.
Well, and that's the big drama.
That's the segue.
That has arisen today, I want to say.
Yeah.
So we have a video by Miria7280 that is summarizing the accusations that are being thrown at her now.
A petition has been circulating demanding that Rachel Gunn, also known as Ray Gunn, be held accountable for their roles in the breakdancing debacle. Breakdancing, being such a niche sport in Australia, didn't have a formal governing body. So Rachel Gunn took it upon herself to create one, to get breakdancing included in this year's Olympics. However, her actions appear far from ethical. She appointed herself as the head of this newly formed governing body, and her husband took on the roles of both judge and coach for the qualifiers. The most disturbing part of this story is that Rachel Gunn allegedly blocked genuinely talented breakdancers from underprivileged communities from even participating in the selection process. This move seems calculated to create an environment where only she, her friends, and her husband had a chance at making it to the Olympics. As a result, it appears she secured her spot in the games by essentially eliminating the competition, many of whom were far more skilled. Videos of these other dancers show their talent is undeniable, which raises serious questions about how Rachel Gunn made it through while they did not. And a Change.org petition was launched this morning, demanding accountability and transparency. The petition has gained over 4,000 signatures.
So at first, where everyone's like, good for you, this is hilarious.
Well, not everyone. People are
not
mad.
Everyone. See, more on my For You page, I was getting people being like, this is a joke, but like, we love her. Like, it's hilarious. Now it's like you took opportunities away from people who deserve them more. So that's terrible.
I mean, I think some of the videos that we've played have spoken to the fact that people were seeing this as a white woman co-opting these cultural spaces, which is to an extent could be some sort of identity policing, could be some sort of like policing of the genre. But now this has come out and you're like, wait, are you taking, I mean, her being there in the first place, but I guess everyone's attitude was like, who in Australia has a history of breakdancing, right? Because no one really knew about the breakdancing community.
Or if no one legitimately like tried out for these auditions, or there was a judging and she won fair and square, but her husband was the judge. Like, nothing seems fair.
I again would like to say that I would like the receipts before I believe these dramas. But even the drama aside, her breakdancing ability, I don't know anything about breakdancing like as a skill, but like you're kangaroo hopping. Like, I expect like someone spinning on their head, doing something really impressive. She's laying on the ground and kangaroo hopping.
There's so many memes. One of my favorite is Sarah Bareilles posted, because in Girls 5 Eva, she does a jokey hip hop dance, and it's literally just like this Reagan's dance. I would like to say also, this reminded me a lot of the Winter Olympics when there was a girl who did skiing in the half pipe, and she literally just went up and down the half pipe and did one little hop. When people do like 360s, they do corkscrews. So she was just awful at this half pipe, and everyone's like, how did she get involved? She was American, but somehow she figured out that because Hungary had an open spot, like similar to how Reagan like figured out how to get herself to the Olympics, like this girl from the States, but then competing for Hungary, got herself to the Olympics legitimately. But it just seems kind of gross to do.
Yeah.
But there was two schools. Like, on one hand, I'm like, wait, I kind of want to do that because I want to go to the Olympics.
But
on
it's
the
like
other hand,
kind of insulting.
It's a mockery.
Yeah, it's like a mockery
to the other athletes.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think also in this day and age, you're not going to be able to fly under the radar. And so this person either just doesn't care, and I'm thinking more about the skier, just really does not give a shit about what people think, and just is like, I'd rather do this, and I don't care if they like flame me online.
Yeah.
Or they're really delusional.
I think both could be true.
Yeah. So I've yet to fully make up my mind on this Ray Gun character.
Yeah, I think there's more coming.
As I said to Ashley and you in our chat, it's a really good example of theory versus praxis, which is actually, praxis is like practice. It's like doing things. So it's like,
oh, you could have just said practice.
I know, but I wanted to say praxis. So this is literally being in academia. You find out words and you're like, oh, it's just like another word that's simpler. But I went and looked at Reagan's publications, and she writes about theory versus practice versus praxis. So she's doing this in a sort of ethnographic manner. I wonder if she'll write an article about it. I should read one of her articles.
You should,
but
I vote for you too.
I have to like set up my courses for this semester.
But also maybe instead of reading about Robert Moses, you're only on page 16, switch over to Reagan's.
Oh, that'll be my nighttime audiobook.
Okay, perfect. All right, let us move on and go to Catalina, your For You page. This was just a fun New York City video, actually. It was a video by Department of Redundancy Department.
Thank you so much to the man who offered me $1 when I was sitting on the curb at 4 a.m. waiting for my Uber ride home from the club. I'm not unhoused, but that was very nice of you. I am actually a barred New York State attorney. I just have terrible judgment.
I just really liked this video because I just imagine thinking about us at Don Angie. Like, no one was going to offer us $1, but I'd love to know how old people thought we were and what people thought we do for a living.
Also, I'm pretty sure all of us smelled really bad because we were walking in the heat and on a roof for like 12 hours that day. So we just weren't our freshest selves, I'll say. So nothing about being around us was probably positive.
Right. But I just like thinking about like people's outside of work behavior versus their inside work behavior. And I don't think anyone is going to be confusing me with an unhoused person. Maybe sometimes, but they'll definitely not know what I do most of the time.
Well, when you use words like praxis, what was it? whatever the fuck word you used.
Okay, but was I using the term praxis at Don Angie?
Actually, no, you weren't. So that's true.
I was using the word demure.
Demure. Okay, there's an audio trend now that has not been coming up on my For You page at all, so I'm going to let you take it away.
Okay, so the audio trend is, well, the one I can highlight here is by a user name or a creator named at Maddie Shiesty. It says, so it's her face and just with quotes over the screen, it says, "I don't understand why you hate the royal family," and they're referring to the British royal family. The song that's used is Famine by Sinead O'Connor, which is a song about the potato famine.
Okay, I want to talk about Ireland. Specifically, I want to talk about the famine, about the fact that there never really was one.
And the narrative that people are told about the potato famine and how actually in Ireland they were subject to incredible repression by the British government. So the lyrics of the song that you hear in the audio clip are, okay, I want to talk about Ireland. Specifically, I want to talk about the famine. So all the users who are doing this are somehow commenting on either intergenerational trauma or about being Irish related to the Irish potato famine, or about their dislike for England as a government and as a colonial power. And that's the trend.
Oof. Okay, I don't have much to add there on this one because
I didn't know this song. I do know that Sinead O'Connor, the thing that I know her most famously for is when she ripped up a picture of the Pope on SNL. And then that was like a very public cancellation that happened. I want to say that happened in the 90s. And then I also know that she recently passed away.
Oh, she's dead?
Yeah, she died this year.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, no, I didn't realize she was dead. Was she bald? Am I thinking of someone else?
She shaved her head.
Okay,
yeah, she died she died last year in July, but she was like a big politically active activist, particularly about like Ireland and global politics. And what did she die of? Let's make this sadder. Oh, she had some health problems. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and asthma. But yeah, so that is an audio trend that I guess is on my For You page and not yours.
There you go. You know what is on my For You page though, because of New York City?
What?
It's been the Bed-Stuy fish pond.
The
Have
koi
you gotten any
pond.
of this?
My friend commented on it to me when I was in Brooklyn because there was a leaking fire hydrant outside of her house, and she said we should make a fish pond like in Bed-Stuy, and I didn't know what she was talking about. But then I saw it.
It's all over the news. It's all over my TikTok. I think they were trying to get rid of it, but the neighborhood is really not letting them get rid of it because it's just like such a nice thing. People are feeding the fish and they go to visit, and it's like this little community activity. I don't know. It just seems so sweet.
Who put the fish there? We don't know, right?
We don't know, but I think people keep adding more fish too, which is sort of like, I guess, problematic because I don't know if the fish will get along. Like, I don't know. I thought it was a little mood boost at first, but now, it's getting into people need to cooperate on it to keep the fish alive.
Well, so as a final point, in today's episode, and I do realize that this is kind of depressing as well, which is, a hard right turn from the happiness of the koi pond in Bed-Stuy. But as we know, or as many know, the film adaptation of Colleen Hoover's It Ends With Us is doing their press tour. People on TikTok are reacting to the marketing of this film and the supposed drama between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni.
Justin Baldoni and all the cast, really, and Colleen Hoover. Apparently, all the cast don't like him and have been unfollowing him.
Right, but then what I've been seeing is that people are really turning on Blake Lively right now because of the way that she's marketing a film about domestic violence as like a rom-com.
There's definitely two camps.
Yeah, it was like a romp. So I'm interested to know.
Yeah, that's why this video is actually really funny because it's just making fun of the way the movie is marketed.
Right. So this is by @HireMeI'mFunny.
So grab your girlies, wear your favorite dirndl, and go see my new movie, The Zone of Interest, only in theaters. It's a fun summer movie about a family living their best life at their country house, and we have hot guys wearing Hugo Boss. And don't forget to check out my hair care line.
Are you gonna see It Ends With Us, Tina?
I would love to, again, listen to the audiobook so I know what it's about. But a film about domestic violence being marketed as a rom-com, there's just a disconnect there. And then with Blake, and a lot of people are getting mad that Blake Lively has been promoting her hair care line and not addressing the issue at hand in the movie.
Also, this reminds me of another film that it was in its time marketed as a rom-com. It's the movie Tiptoes, which came out in 2003, starring Gary Oldman, Matthew McConaughey, Kate Beckinsale, Peter Dinklage, and Patricia Arquette. It's like,
to our listeners, if you're listening right now,
go
and watch the trailer.
It is,
at least just watch the trailer. Do whatever, like, you must watch the trailer.
Like Tiptoes. This movie,
Matthew McConaughey.
So my friends showed us this trailer and I was like, I obviously have to watch this film.
Yeah.
It's framed as a rom-com. I don't want to ruin anything.
Don't spoil it. Yeah.
I recommend
just watch the trailer.
But also the trailer is framed as a rom-com, so you also have to see what the movie's actually about.
Yeah. Wow. I can't believe this reminds you of Tiptoes.
It really reminds me of Tiptoes.
Well, that's really great to end on.
Yeah.
Just, leaving our listeners with that gift to watch the trailer. And it's been a great week. Great week on Talk.
We'll see you
TikTok.
We'll see you next week for the Tackin' and the Talkin'.
Bye.